So much more evidence has come forward from even Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively themselves that all but confirms that yes, Ryan used his nice pool character in Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah, they're crazy. They will chop you up into 1,000 pieces and hide you all over the void. I'd be fighting alongside them, but my calling is to one day host a podcast that monetizes the women's movement. Hey, cowboy, my eyes are up here. I know it's tempting. I look at it too sometimes. Yeah.
Jeez. I mean, so specific.
I'd be fighting alongside them, but my calling is to one day host a podcast that monetizes the women's movement.
Yeah, and then...
Hey, cowboy, my eyes are up here.
Look, on Mr. Ryan Reynolds. And it's yet another example as to why this lawsuit was the dumbest thing Blake Lively could have ever done. I can't even fathom how stupid this move was. Look, people didn't like Blake Lively due to things we saw with our own eyes. It had nothing to do with Justin Baldoni, but she got so butthurt from the press and refused to take...
The continuing legal conflict between Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively has taken a drastic turn that anyone anticipated, particularly given Blake's husband Ryan Reynolds' role in the lawsuit's initial inception, be why claims of wrongdoing against Baldoni on the set of the eagerly awaited movie. Which concludes with us having now grew into a show that highlights the complex relationship between Hollywood and the role of power in entertainment examination.
Blake Lively is suing director Justin Baldoni. Apparently it is not ending with them anytime soon. Now, before we get to these new details, let's just recap where...
The narrative starts with the sadly. The movie's fallout concludes with a Colleen interpretation. The film adaptation of Hoover's best-selling book was meant to mark a turning point in each participant's career, and notably Baldoni, who had spent years envisioning the movie. But things went south. An unidentified source made accusations that Baldoni behaved inappropriately throughout production. Charges against a number of female actors and crew members ranged from being unduly domineering to more grave allegations of harassment.
Z-list actress Blake Lively is panicking.
Blake Lively, a major producer on the movie in its early stages, publicly stated her encouragement of the actors and crew, and she seemed to promote a happy atmosphere on the set. Lively's public. Grace's persona was one of empowerment and intelligence, which made her a perfect person to confront the darker Hollywood's various sides.
Blake and Justin, who are the stars of the film, and he directed it, weren't supporting each other, weren't even going near each other, and rumors of issues on set made it that a lot of people were noticing. They stopped following each other on social media, etc., etc. And then when the junkets came around...
The initial warning sign. During the film's press tour, co-stars are typically spotted doing interviews side by side, demonstrating the obvious awkwardness. Strolling the red carpet and posting entertaining behind-the-scenes photos on the internet, but Blake and Justin hadn't. Fans of the obvious distance soon noticed that Blake never shared any unguarded photos of her conversations with Baldoni. About the movie, to be sure, but she kept her attention on the images, the plot, and Colleen Hoover while Baldoni avoided bringing up Blake specifically as well. The silence said more than words could.
The way she treated people, the way she thought she could market this film, that's where a lot of this backlash came from. So I do think if there's someone out there who's trying to rehab their image, it's definitely going to be Blake because...
But the circumstances started to change when previously unreleased films and snippets of material from interviews started to appear. Lively at times when some critics thought she was impolite or dismissive, especially when she interacted with. Some staff members saw these videos as an effort to depict the actress's true. Others said that they damaged her reputation and the popular support that had first surged in. Her favor started to erode.
Insane, and that's crazy, and this is a reason why I think in the future people are just not going to work with her, because it's starting to add up. People are realizing that this is a pathology.
Opposing viewpoints, with some supporting Lively and others wondering if her polished persona was only a front. Reputation was on the line, and the public, always eager to jump on a scandal, twisted the story to her detriment, and memes started to appear on social media. Different viewpoints, with some supporting Lively and others questioning whether her polished persona was a front.
The consequence has been terrible for Blake and Ryan in terms of people following.
Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are getting more and more messed up, are losing Instagram followers, and it's not just due of the drama that ends with us. The lawsuit now has supporters. Turning away, the tension with Justin Baldoni came first, followed by the whispers of darkness. The scenes, but when the legal issues surfaced, that's when things began to go south for the followers who once loved. Due to the media hoopla, Blake and Ryan are now side-eyeing them, and the unfollow button is receiving a lot of activity. Fans' intense emotions were split, with some championing. Blake denounces Dawn as a haughty filmmaker incapable of taking criticism. Others support Justin, who portrays Blake as refusing to make concessions to Hollywood. Public disputes of this size, which were closely observed, weren't unique only because
no Hollywood downfall is complete without a messy legal battle.
While he is suing Blake Heard for $400 million, as well as her publicist and her husband, he is also suing the New York Times for a lot of money.
Seismic insiders whispered that this incident would have a lasting impact on both of them. Some even conjectured that it might be the pivotal moment that caused them both to deteriorate in their careers.
Could Blake?
Would Justin Baldoni ever be able to repair his reputation? Lively restored her image. The industry was waiting to see if either could actually recover more, despite their efforts to control the harm. Crucially, in a field where reputation is crucial, will they ever work together again? And what happened to it ends with us? Every action an actor does is closely examined by public relations agencies, which serve as the behind-the-scenes puppet masters are experts at molding A-list celebrities' lives for people like Blake Lively, whose career is meticulously planned to preserve her next-door girl persona. The stakes are quite high, and she is carefully threatened by one mistake and one scandal. When it ends with us, a well-crafted persona could cause her reputation to plummet. When accusations began to surface, Lively's public relations team acted swiftly, framing her as the victim in their early statements, implying that she was merely a helpful producer caught in the crossfire of the poisonous Hollywood culture. She was presented as the one advocating for women in a field that is dominated by men, but when conflicting reports and new data started coming. In order to maintain her in the public's good graces, her PR staff had to change their approach.
The representative for the uncredited director of It Ends With Us has confirmed that she has hired a crisis PR expert, and one with very questionable experience and ties and opinion.
Lively's PR machine put in extra hours, coordinating media appearances, making well-timed public statements, and even disclosing facts to spread rumors. For instance, when the video of Lively's alleged impolite behavior appeared, blogs and media outlets were used to shape the narrative. Her team had to change course fast to clarify the situation and make it apparent that those behind-the-scenes interactions weren't a genuine representation of her personality. They also aimed to highlight her career accomplishments, reminding the public of her prior achievements, such as Gossip Girl and A Simple Favor.
Blake Lively's case at all. This pettiness, these jokes, this isn't something you joke about. I'm with Justin's lawyer on this. This is a hugely sad thing to discover that Blake and Ryan thought this was worthy fodder to joke about.
However, the true story twist occurred when Justin Baldwin's legal team began using an unanticipated weapon. Known for his sharp humor and participation in a number of media endeavors, Ryan Reynolds is best known as The Face. Unexpectedly emerged as a pivotal figure in the court battle because of a purported connection to the Deadpool series. Between Baldoni himself and his persona Nice Pool from Deadpool 2.
You said it was what to your wife? This just feels too jokey. Like, shouldn't it be taken more seriously?
The assertion initially seemed strange. How could a made-up character in a satirical superhero movie be pertinent in a lawsuit concerning on-set misconduct in real life? But the more the more the lawyer examined the specifics, the more this relationship started to make sense in a profoundly intriguing manner, in which Reynolds' persona, Lovely Pool, displayed a variety of traits that strikingly resembled Baldwin's purported actions on the set of It Conclude With Us. There were significant parallels between the hairdo and the caustic remarks that mirrored actual charges against the mannerisms of Baldoni for example, were characterized as patronizing. Jokes about objectifying women and feminism are in stark contrast to the romanticized view of manhood that. One comment even suggested body shaming Lively during a crucial moment, something that Baldoni himself had openly developed. Sequence that echoed claims made in the case, implying that the character's development may not have been completely accidental.
What I make of that is that if your wife is sexually harassed, you don't make fun of Justin Baldoni. You don't make fun of the situation. You take it very seriously. You file HR complaints. You raise the issue.
This is where things became heated, as Baldwin's attorney started to assert that in Deadpool 2, Ryan Reynolds not only made a persona based on Baldoni, but also trivialized the very accusations against him. The attorney contended that Reynolds' parody trivialized a grave matter, specifically the "we are the ones who are accused of abuse and harassment on the set."
Get along and there was a problem and like fine, okay. But to do these lawsuits and say how serious this is.
Reynolds' depiction of a pleasant pool was the main source of conflict in the film Nice Pool, a character that makes fun of toxic masculinity, of feminist concerns, consent, and body image, three major concepts that were curiously included in the accusations made against Baldoni, and his legal team contended that Reynolds had purposefully made it difficult to distinguish between fact and fiction by utilizing Deadpool's world's humor and absurdity too. The fact that Reynolds was able to deride such a figure serves as a diversion from the gravity of the matter at hand. Of Baldoni in a public and unrepentant manner further muddied the waters in Lively's favor.
What you don't do is mock the person and turn it into a joke. There's no question it relates to Justin. I mean, anybody that can watch that, the hair bun,
You are aware of the instead of Reynolds made a farce out of the claims by confronting them head-on. As an Paul Baldwin's attorney noted, it was merely an effort to use comedy and ridicule to defuse the accusations. So, dismissing the experiences of the women involved, the legal team contended that this severely damaged Lively's case. Way that makes it more difficult to believe what she says.
You don't make fun of it. It's a serious issue.
Unquestionably, Reynolds' contribution to the Deadpool franchise was a brilliant move in comedy, but it had significant legal repercussions for Lively. Baldwin's attorneys started to insinuate that NPO's personality wasn't just an harmless jest or a deliberate attempt to mock the idea of grave accusations in Hollywood.
There was bad blood there and there was disappointment from Tim in the way he was treated. But it's Hollywood. You can't go badmouth people. And he didn't. For the record, he didn't. But there was just something I could always tell. Something was off in the way Ryan Reynolds treated Tim Miller, the first director of Deadpool, who didn't come back for Deadpool 2. And it just made me wonder because like my experience with Ryan was fantastic. He was so polite, so nice, so generous to what he did when I got to work with him ages back. One of the highlights of my career. He was so quick-witted, funny, and collaborative.
This is trivial. Lady Pool's addition has caused conversations about possible similarities to the current legal battles between Lively and filmmaker Justin. According to some analysts, Lady Pool's portrayal could act as a subtly addressing these actual events. Both of them were aware of what they were doing, which demonstrates that Lady Pool was designed as a satire or parody of Baldoni.
Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, they are petty, spiteful bullies. Now, I don't know Justin Baldoni from Adam. I don't know what happened on the set. I don't know if he is what he is.
The legal team did not dismiss the possibility of turning accusations into a joke, claiming that although the film's Reynolds saw success as a victory, but Lively's credibility suffered greatly. The court filing noted that Reynolds' choice to utilize Deadpool's satirical platform to ridicule. Ironically, Lively's position on women's rights and empowerment ran counter to feminist issues.
Needs to be put in check. And it looks like Ryan's does as well. And both of you are now going to get bit by karma because you thought.
Indeed, karma is distant from them. This wasn't merely a superhero movie. In the midst of Hollywood's continuing #MeToo period, this was about a subtly provocative remark by Sturzing subjects. Reynolds' character, which many saw as delicate and somber, served as a diversion. not for entertaining them. The humor she and Reynolds had presented as lighthearted suddenly seemed to trivialize sarcasm, which turned into a liability. The same accusations that Baldoni was up against,
as well as any communications relating to the development, writing, and filming of storylines and scenes featuring Nice Pool. The letter also calls for the studio to retain,
making things more difficult. With Reynolds' fame and influence, there was an unquestionable power balance between him and Baldoni. His acts on and off screen had a profound effect that extended beyond Hollywood to international markets. Although Reynolds' acts were innocuous, Baldwin's attorney contended that they had seriously damaged Lively's reputation, credibility in the public's and jury's eyes.
Be a part of the storytelling, that I wanted to be a part of the narrative, whether that be in the writing, in the costume design, in creating the character.
The character throughout the course of the case. Lively's part in the movie was framed by Baldwin's legal team as essential to comprehending the power dynamics at play. They contend that in addition to being the production's face, Lively also had considerable influence over numerous elements of the movie, including the release date, the costumes, and even the lawyer's revision of some of the screenplay. Noted that this disparity in authority may have been exploited to weaken Baldoni, putting him in a position where he could hardly voice their opinions without facing professional consequences, and Lively's Hollywood influence further. Her union with Ryan Reynolds, one of the most adored and lucrative celebrities in the business, was viewed as an benefit. The marketing efforts for it concluded with us being closely examined for maybe starring Baldoni in a. Reynolds, who was crucial in overseeing his own career and public image, was also charged with of making use of his influence to disparage Baldwin's standing in the public and industry. Despite Lively's public assertion that her goals were solely professional, others questioned whether her. As the drama developed during the judicial proceedings, on-set behavior had been more calculated than initially thought. Surrounding Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively became increasingly more passionate, drawing, including the greatest names in Hollywood, and exposing some shocking behind-the-scenes information. The fight wasn't simply regarding a lawsuit. It turned into a show of celebrity feuds and power struggles that, while the legal battles were going on in the public view, there were whispers of Lively's going on behind the scenes that no one could have expected. Part in the creation of It Ends With Us started to emerge, and Baldwin's crew was quick to highlight the obvious power disparity on stage, but new revelations revealed an actor who is even more complex.
Actor-director Justin Baldoni is now suing his former co-star Blake Lively and her husband Ryan Reynolds, seeking more than $400 million in damages, accusing them of defamation and extortion.
However, things intensified even more in January 2025 after Baldoni filed a larger lawsuit against Sloan and Lively Reynolds, this time for $400 million. The three main allegations in Baldwin's lawsuit are that Lively and her crew purposefully disseminated misleading information to harm his reputation, and he asserts that they tried to persuade or blackmail him into remaining silent. Claims that, in accordance with court documents, his private information was disclosed to the public in order to destroy his career. Feels that Sloan and Lively Reynolds collaborated to make Hollywood the. He claims that the public and media turned against him and that their influence caused him to lose money and lose his job. And psychological suffering, which support the massive $400 million damages claim. According to Baldwin's legal team, the campaign against him involved more than simply the workplace accusations. It also included of a larger effort to manage the discourse and safeguard Lively's public.
It included a new timeline featuring a lot of new evidence. And the more I read it,